Hey everybody. Well, it's Panda. God, I I didn't want to. I'll be honest. I've been dreading doing this video for a while. When I say a while, really, it's feels like it's a week and a half, but it feels like an eternity. So you might have noticed that I haven't posted anything since last week. It was kind of a difficult week, but I have to do this because it's important. I have to continue to move forward with it too, and so anyway, let me get to the point. I'm doing a tribute video here. We're gonna talk about best dogs in video games that I've played and experienced in, and the reason being is because I'm paying a tribute to probably the best friend, best pooch, best hound that I've had for 13 years. I know this is slow and cringy, and I apologize, but for most of you that have seen me since I started YouTube, there's a little bit of a backstory here. I started YouTube back then around 2018, 2019. And I did YouTube, I did Twitch, I did a few things here in content creation. I'll be honest, it was just kind of a hobby. I was bored and wanted to start talking about video games and doing video games and stuff. But early in that time, I had a dog I would feature sometimes in some of the videos and live streams. His name is Tiberius. He's a 100% Basset Hound, adorable hound dog. But you might have seen him in some of the videos that I had, and I kind of had him included just because he was always with me in my office and everything like that. But to give you a backstory, I had Tiberius for almost 14 years. We picked him up a little after he was born, about 6 months old. I've had him ever since. He's been with me. He's been with the start of my family. He's known my wife forever. And God, I didn't think it was going to be this hard. And we've had him for almost 14 years. Been a great dog. He's been a great companion. He's been here, been with me and my wife and everything since that time. I'll go ahead and show a picture. That's me holding him. God, I'm so much smaller. Still had a similar, well, different hairstyle, but beard, but just that's what he was. He was a little 7-8 months year old that we had him, and I've had him ever since then. But this past week and a half, he passed on, and he moved on to bigger and better pastures. And he's just been my buddy ever since. He's been my buddy for the full 14 years. Anytime I would go work, he'd have his bed right beside. I even brought him to work with me when I worked at Zynga and QA. So a few things you may not know about me is I was in the gaming industry for a little while in QA in college, and he was there with me the whole time. I made the move to South Texas into working with Blizzard, Zynga, and all those different areas. And he's been with me ever since to their current place. But he's been always there, and he's been my companion for a long time. And even with my wife, he was there, her little protector when we had our little one. Dogs have an interesting way of protecting their masters, and it was so funny because he would just be protecting my wife the entire time while she was pregnant, before we had our little one. So anyway, I won't digress too much into this, but we've had him for 14 years, and unfortunately he went on. He's been on all this stuff. He's been the companion. He's been with me forever. And so this tribute video is for him. And I wanted to do it to one, give me some closure. Two, I think pets in any facet, in video games, movies, entertainment, or anything, are the most wonderful, innocent, special things ever. And I think they all should be able to be pet and be able to be with you the entire time through all of these mediums. And it's hard. It's been hard since he's been passed. I still break down periodically when I don't see him. And just for me to talk about him is... it's tough. So, if you have a dog, if you have a companion, more or less, it can be a cat, it could be anything. Just whatever your companion is on your journey. Give him a little extra love and happiness as we all kind of move through the life cycle. I love my family so much. I love my daughter, I love my wife, I love my entire family, and I love my companions. And Tiberius was... I call him Ty for short, that's why I'm hesitating, but his real name, Tiberius, is named after the middle name of James T. Kirk. Kind of the leadership hero I've always looked up to. And we always name our pets after, you know, strong science fiction characters. So, but yeah, he faltered away from cancer. So yeah, I go back to saying this: if you have your companion close by and with you, give him extra loves, give him an extra treat, give him the extra attention, because when they move on, you're just gonna miss them. And I miss him terribly. Like, he's been there since the beginning. And this is a tribute to him, to one, bring me closure, and two, to do something in his name. So I give you the most notable dogs in video game history that I personally love, enjoy. And this is for you, and for you, Tiberius, my loyal companion. Fallout 4, dog meat. Dog meat is a very common dog that shows up in Fallout 4 and becomes your trusty companion throughout the story, and can be as interactive and included in your adventures, or as little as you so choose, as he is there for the sole survivor. As you play through Fallout 4, you notice that he has had quite the history, as he has an interaction with Nick Valentine and others that apparently he had assisted. Loyal, wonderful servant of Dogmeat, not to be confused with the nickname and codename from Sewer Shark. Dogmeat is one of the most loyal, does appear in other Fallout games such as Fallout Shelter, Fallout Wasteland Warfare, and Fallout Shelter Online. Being a German Shepherd, this dog has always left an impression with those going through the wasteland. The character known as Dog in Duck Hunt, one of the first and earliest iterations of a dog appearing in a video game. Duck Hunt has the dog who is assisting you in collecting the birds that you take out in the middle of the air, and sometimes kind of scoffing and giving you motivation in order to continue to move forward if you fail or take care of any of the any of the ducks or birds in the air. What's beautiful about the dog is he's as loyal as a companion as you are, and no matter how terrible you are at shooting with a light gun, and will always bring what it is that you take care of in the field back to you. This is what's fascinating with Basset Hounds, which my dog Tiberius is they're one of the best hunting dogs ever, despite their low body clearance, tiny arms, but have the best sniffer schnoots ever. Dog also appears in Super Smash Brothers in the future with the duck on his back, and can actually do some pretty epic combos, throwing different TNT, shooting weapons, and throwing miscellaneous items from Duck Hunt. The Polterpup, Luigi Mansion, Dark Moon, and Luigi Mansion 3. In the second game, Luigi Mansion Dark Moon, the Polterpup actually is a mini-boss and has actually special important items that Luigi needs in order to progress, hence why he becomes the boss in that particular game. which is interesting because then in the third game of Luigi's Mansion 3, Polterpup actually ends up being an ally assisting you in many different ways in the game. Usually if Luigi loses all of his HP, the gold bone on the dog itself will actually revive him notoriously. But Polterpup is a white ghost pup just wearing that red collar around, and is one of the cutest, most adorable ghosts that you will ever see, and is ever so loyal to Luigi, at least in the third iteration of Luigi's Mansion. Metal Gear Solid 5, Dee Dee. Dee Dee, otherwise known as Diamond Dogs, but Dee Dee for short, is discovered as a pup during one of the early missions in Metal Gear Solid 5 that Venom Snake captures and Fulton recoveries the dog to the mother base. And upon so, Ocelot ends up training and bringing up Dee Dee until he becomes a full-grown dog. As a pup early on, Dee Dee basically doesn't do a whole lot, but does start to show a little bit of affection if you've paid a lot of attention to him throughout the game. At some point when Snake basically leaves for a mission, he then attempts to accompany him and eventually is told to stay behind from Ocelot, showing the presence that Dee Dee is very loyal and also follows commands appropriately. When Dee Dee becomes fully grown and is trained for combat support, he actually ends up accompanying you during missions and ends up being one of the most loyal dogs that you will ever run into. Luckily for you, the dog can be outfitted with a number of different armor pieces and different support for your mission in order for him to obey your commands as soon as so. Dee Dee is very loyal and does very much anything that you ask it to, as well as being very stealthy and stamina. You can get the different suits and sneaking equipment for Dee Dee, like as so. Dee Dee actually will follow you to the very ends of the earth. Secret of Evermore Dog. One of the most interesting things about these earlier editions of games is that having a companion or a dog accompany the main hero doesn't have a whole lot of backstory, so a lot of it has to be pieced together through very, very small minimal clues or just particular fan service. Secret of Evermore, before the hero that we have, before he starts going through the different dimensions of the storyline, the dog ends up meeting up with him at Professor Ruffleberg's mansion, and through each time period or future revisions of the game, the dog still follows through and ends up changing different breeds. But one thing that is for sure, the dog is ever so loyal and ever so accompanied to the hero in Secret of Evermore itself, all the way even into the future where the dog ends up being a future robotic version of himself. This dog will go through time just to be close to the hero to make sure that they get through just about anything and everything. Ends up being a wonderful companion and character that you get to control at certain points, but most of the time the dog is always there to help with reviving, can also help with different dog sniffing and dog casting different actions in order to further help the hero as he goes through the story of the Secret of Evermore. Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil 4 Remake Wolf/Dog. Even though this has about the smallest amount of playtime, I would say, through all these other games, the wolf or dog that Leon Kennedy runs into and helps in the game is probably the most influential and most loyal and trusting of Leon, and probably characters altogether. When Leon assists the dog from getting out of a bear trap, the dog itself will help him against the massive El Gigante that he runs into in the fork in the road. Really kind of showing that the dog itself isn't afraid much of anything in this Resident Evil universe, and always there to help and assist with Leon with the different bosses that he runs into. Obviously, he only makes a very small appearance against El Gigante, but it is probably the most influential, loyal, and wonderful thing that a dog can do for the protagonist. And with the full trust and understanding that they both have, makes this dog one of the most influential in my book. The Blair Witch, Bullet. Surprisingly, the last but not least, but one of the more influential dogs that I've ever gotten a chance to play with. Bullet is the dog that accompanies Alice in the Blair Witch game that was created by the Blooper team that does Silent Hill 2 Remake, as well as Layers of Fear and a few others. Bullet is loyal to the end to Alice, and depending on how you actually treat Bullet will determine your ending of the dog's fate. Given it's very difficult in order for Bullet to actually have the bad ending, which you wouldn't really want to do, and it takes a lot of just horribleness in order to make sure that you have that ending. That's why you always want to go towards the best ending, as it obviously lives with a really good ending between both of them. However, Bullet is there to the very end and ensures that his owner gets through each and every peril that he experiences. It's a very underrated and it's a very wonderful mechanic that I wish more games would actually attest to, depending on the treatment, how you feel, by petting the dog, giving the dog commands, and also giving the dog treats throughout the game makes a major change and difference in the Blair Witch video game. And in doing so will determine whether or not that dog becomes your companion for a lifelong time versus just the video game. I strongly encourage, if you're interested in any sort of horror game like this, as well as having Bullet the dog and that experience in a video game, I recommend you get to play this game. Not to mention, they did release probably some DLCs, but I bet you there's a way to even mod these, or you could even change the dog to the different breeds. Unfortunately, I haven't seen a Basset Hound one that has popped up. Companions of dogs of different types, different worlds, different times. Give them a little extra love, care, and affection, because a loyal companion like that doesn't last forever. There are times in my routine and everything that I do, I truly miss Tiberius, and I know he's in a better place, but I still can't help but grasp how much I miss him. Tiberius, you were the best, and I can't wait to see you in the next lifetime.